Welcome to day 5. I am so excited that you are here. This is day 5 of the From Behind to Progress Learning Challenge. And this challenge has been an incredible opportunity for me to share with you not only our journey and homeschooling of not just having one child who was struggling to learn, but a second child. And in this, I've been sharing the tips and tricks that I have been used over, I would say 24 years because we're starting our 24th year of homeschooling, but we really didn't start it until probably 20 years ago. So these are tips and tricks I've used to help our children who are dyslexic overcome their challenges, as well as getting our children who were reading to be able to excel in their reading. So you want to make sure you are watching all 5 of the topics that I've been sharing in this week. And if you do not have a piece of paper, I encourage you to grab it. Today, we're talking about the secrets to overcoming learning challenges. And what I'm sharing today just builds on what I've shared in the first 4 days. But what I want to remind you of is what I shared in day 3 and in day 4. In day 3, I talked about the number one reason your child isn't motivated to learn. We talked a lot about how important it is for interest and how that interest can be used to strengthen a child where they struggle. You want to listen to that. And then in day 4, I talked about how to influence your kids to be interested in your curriculum choices. And this is where you need to learn how to master the skill of introducing your curriculum to your children in a way that will spark their vital interest. Now, to share both of these with you, I want to talk to you about both of our dyslexic boys' journeys. Our second child, who was dyslexic, had a much shorter time of progressing than our first one because, first of all, I didn't understand dyslexia. I didn't know he had dyslexia. I had no understanding of learning challenges at that time. I had already taught a classroom of kindergarten children of how to read, and as well as other subjects. And I also taught our daughter the mechanics of learning as well. And so we struggled with confidence, both our children and myself. We made a lot of curriculum changes, but what I'm about to share with you today has been the catapult, so to say, to take a child from being behind to actually having them showing progress in their learning really quickly. So let me get started today with the 2 parts of progress. I'm going to also be talking to you about the benefits of short lessons as well as the secret to progress. And if you stay to the end, I have a bonus tip that I want to share with you as well. So let's get started with the 2 parts of progress. Now, if you remember from day 1, I talked about how learning is a slow and voluntary process. And we as moms are impatient. Especially if our children are behind, we kind of want that to hurry up and get done already. We want to be able to show progress at the end of the school year. We want to feel like our time and energy and effort that we put into planning the homeschool pays off, as well as being able to get to this place of helping our children to become successful in their education. But what I find is our need, our stress, our overwhelm of getting our children to show progress, as well as the lack of their confidence, the lack of our confidence, the changing of curriculum throughout the years, keeps us from really understanding the core to progress. And there's 2 parts that I want you to recognize. And you guys, as homeschooling moms, I know it's true for me, focus on the one part. And we really skip over the first part. But you can't have the second part if you don't have the first part. So to make this all make sense to you, let's talk about the 2 parts. One part is skill, the other part is speed. Now, I want you to understand that skill is the ability to do something independently. This is not the ability of sounding out next to mom. This is not the ability of us being next to them during their reading lessons, their writing lessons, their math lessons. This is the skill. It can only happen when a person actually has the ability to do something on their own. If they haven't gotten the skill yet, they're still working on the mechanics You cannot have skill without the mechanics. And that's why I've made sure to include the homeschool progress kit inside the Solve Learning Challenge kit, which I'm referencing in the comments so that you can go ahead and get that to help you know what those stages of transitions are in order to teach those four mechanics: reading, writing, arithmetic, and thinking to your children to build the skills. Okay. So if your children do not have the ability to do something on their own, they're lacking the skill in those mechanics. Once they have those skills in the mechanics, they can move on to the second part of progress, and that is speed. Speed is it increases the efficiency in the time of the lesson, meaning that they can accomplish more in the same amount of time because their skill has been worked so much that it increases the efficiency, allowing speed to happen. Okay. So if you've ever tried to teach your children, let's say, how to, I don't know, sweep a floor, or how to dust a home, or how to draw. There's some of the other things that we've done in our home. And I've heard our kids say, "You do it far better than I have." And I'm quick to remind them, I took a long time to build these skills. I've been doing it for X amount of years. And by me doing it this well, I have been able, because I've done it accurate, have the accuracy of this skill, I've been able to work on the efficiency, meaning I can get far more things done. Folding laundry, cooking, all of those types of things that we want our children to learn. But we understand our kids do not have the skill to be able to do these things efficiently or accurately until we've given them the time to learn the skill. However, we don't realize that importance in education for those four mechanics. So it's mechanics first, then it's skills. Skill is something that they can do independently and accurately on their own. And then we move into speed. Speed is the efficiency that we moms desire. Because when we look at progress, we're thinking about how efficient our day is, how efficient that lesson plan is, how efficient our children are going through their lesson plans and curricula for the year. So when you think about these two parts, skill and progress, the foundation is mechanics. Then when we have the mechanics, we can build the skills, and then we can work on the speed. Now, if you are like me and you get antsy and you get impatient, you get concerned about where your children are when they're starting to fall behind, I want you to take a year to work on the skills. When you take a year to work on the skills, you will begin to see the efficiency of their speed increasing significantly in year 2 and in year 3. And before you know it, they can catch up and surpass their own age limit or their own age group. So do not think that you're going to be doing this wrong by simplifying the process. Mechanics first, and the Solve Learning Challenge Kit will help you get there. Then the skills, and then this, the skills, and then we're working on the speed. So now let's talk about the benefits of short lessons. Short lessons is a Charlotte Mason philosophy and method in which she ensures that the children touch a plethora of subjects. She calls it a feast of subjects. And we're able to give our children the rational knowledge they need when we cohere to these short lessons. Now, these short lessons increase as the child's skill increases. All right. And then their speed will help them to get more done in the same amount of time. And then when we increase the lessons, because their skill is there, then we're able to get through more of the lessons accurately. Now, the short lessons do one thing. They do several things, but one thing that is so important that I want you to focus in on why it is important. And that is because it increases the attention span. If you have your children who are daydreaming, who are dawdling, just scribbling, doodling on their papers, or they're just not focusing, it's because they lack the attention span. This is the benefit of those short lessons. If you understand where your child can be completely attentive, focused on perfect execution during these short lessons, the skill will be built. Now, this is why when our children were struggling with learning, I would break up our lessons into 2 or 3 lessons a day, all of short lessons, and being able to get the repetition in place. So do not be afraid to do short lessons. You'll benefit long term than if you were to let it drag out until the lessons are done. Our brains do grow weary. You know this as a mother, you know this as a parent. Our brains grow weary. And when they get to that point of weariness, it's not possible for your child to really finish their lessons. So adhere to those short lessons and you'll see amazing progress. Now, the secret to progress, this is something that I really want you to appreciate and adopt and put into place right now. We have the tendencies as moms when our children are get behind is to worry about grade levels. And we think, oh, our child is in 5th grade. They should be at this part. And we might slip and we might start comparing our children to what educational people tell us our children should be at in that grade level. What I want you to do is stop that. And I want you to begin to help your child start comparing himself or herself to who they were yesterday or last year, the beginning of the school year. We want to help our child to be able to look back and help them to see the skill and the speed increasing. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can do this. I cover that inside the Solve Learning Challenge kit. So make sure you grab that. I walk you through exactly how to be able to tell your child how to compare themselves. It's within the confidence baseline kit. It'll help you to be able to see how to get that skill going while you're working on the mechanics as well as that speed. And when we put our kids comparing to themselves, all those who are successful in life, it doesn't matter what they're being successful in, it's all because they're comparing themselves to who they were yesterday or the week before, the month before, the year before, and they're getting really good at focusing on how to better themselves. If we can give our children that lesson, they will avoid a whole lot of stuff down the road, but more importantly, they'll begin to see progress. Now, you as a mom can be aware of what needs to happen at grade point or at grade levels, but you do not want to pass that stress onto your child. You want to use that as a baseline of where their grade their educational path should be. So you have the educational path of where their skills should be, as well as their speed should be. But then you have your child's ability and skill, and they should be parallel until they become one. And when you focus on the mechanics first, then the skills, and then the speed, you will see that they'll quickly get onto this educational path. But in many cases, children exceed this. The educational path is really there for the average student, not those that are a little behind or those who are ahead. So keep that in mind. All right, now I promised that I was going to give you a bonus tip if you stay to the end. So yay for you. So the bonus is, I'm going to first tell you a story and then I'm going to tell you this bonus. So our first child, when he was struggling, he began to read well between the ages of 12 and 14. And at that point, I took hands off because he was being independent and his school was showing that he was there and that he was doing really well. Well, between the ages of 14 to 16, something happened. He continued to show progress at home, but I didn't realize that he was still struggling with confidence on the inside. And what ended up happening is when we were in a small group of people, that he was asked to read scripture. As a mom who has seen progress, I knew he had it, but he did not know he had it. And so he began to make mistakes that I couldn't even believe he was making. He stumbled and just struggled all the way through the passage. And when he got done that night, we went home and I'm like, son, what happened with the read aloud? We didn't even get home. It was in the car. I was like, son, what happened to the read aloud? He's, Mom, I know how to read that. I've read it so many times. I have no understanding of what happened, except for I was super nervous. I was lost my confidence that I would be able to read this. And it was put on the spot. And it was the first time he had read out loud in front of a whole lot of people. So my bonus tip to you is keep your children reading aloud, even if they're already ahead. Don't make it a part about just your struggling readers having to keep reading out loud, but have it be a family thing. At that point, my son asked if he could begin to read his lessons out loud to me, just so he gets comfortable with reading them out loud. And so he did. I think that was his 10th grade that he began to read things out loud to me. And his confidence really boosted because of that. So once your children do get to this independence, encourage them to read out loud, not just in front of you, but to other people, to keep that confidence there, because it's not just about progressing within themselves. It's about being able to feel confident as they begin to take their steps into society as a well-prepared teenager, young adult. All right, so the challenge task for this final training is that you're going to commit to focusing on growing the skills of your child that is behind by starting at their confidence baseline. And once you get the skills, then you focus on the speed. I hope this has helped you to get confidence as a homeschooling mom, to take your child from behind to learning progress. These 5 simple steps are easy and laid out, but you might need more help. I know the majority of people do. So I encourage you to go to solvelearningchallengesKit.com. If you want to get started with a free resource, I would like to give you the opportunity to get these 3 posters that I've created for homeschool moms who just need a little encouragement along the way. These are the Solve Learning Challenges 3 poster sets. This is absolutely free. I've put them in the comments for you. They're going to help you to show how to influence your child to show progress, the secrets to identifying gaps in your children, as well as how to motivate your children to love learning. I've appreciated those of you who have showed up and enjoyed this. Remember to tag your homeschooling friends who need this in their homeschooling. And until next time, thank you. I'm Dollie Freeman. I'm the creator of Influencing Wholesome Influences, and I want to remind you that you are only one influence away from eternity. Until next time, bye for now.